So look, y'all, this is an example of sustainable living, right? You have one of these on your property. That's what you call a mango tree. A mango tree, of course, in East Africa, these things is, they grow usually during the dry season, but they produce a lot of mangoes. Too many mangoes. Too many mangoes, man. What's up, man? This is not my property, but I do live on this property, but it's a great example of sustainable living.
So
What's this?
So this is a mango tree.
It's a mango tree?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. This one not big as the other one. You get a lot of mangoes in here.
And
Can you show me a mango? Mm-hmm. Where they go? Where are the mangoes?
It looks like you gotta look up with your eyes. You can. Hey, Dad, let me show you something. This is an avocado.
That's an avocado?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Avocado. That's cool. Oh. That's the garden. I see papaya tree.
And there's tomatoes.
Tomatoes too. Wow. What's up, Jeremiah? You see, you got the bananas. Bananas grow all year round out here. You need them bananas.
That's baby ducks.
That's ducks. Mm-hmm. And you got the chickens, right?
Mm-hmm. Those are the turkeys.
You got turkeys too?
Mm-hmm. And dogs.
It's crazy how far we got away from nature that we get excited about seeing chickens now. Actually, that's a quail. Yeah.
What is that?
Quail.
They're beautiful, but they make bad.
We got the catfish in here too. Y'all see the catfish?
Yeah.
Oh, more banana trees. Banana trees everywhere. Coconut trees. Fish. Sustainable living. That's what we're trying to get to. And more mango trees. You can tell the rainy season is approaching because you don't see no mangoes. They was just out here. Let's see if the papayas. Yeah, no papayas. But you can see, you see they small papayas. You got to get one of them tanks of water. You know what I'm saying? That's your emergency water. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. More papayas. See, they small.
They're getting bigger.
Yeah, they getting bigger right there. That water. Okay, y'all. Once again, it's Pilgrims in the Earth. Y'all know we about self-sustainability and community building. You know, I'm gonna tell you why it's important to have community building, especially in these times. Of course, you need a community to, help to have self-sustainability, because who's gonna labor the fields? Who's gonna plant the vineyards? How you gonna eat? A lot of us come from broken families and, broken generations. You don't know who your grandfather, your grandmother is. So the community is that part. The self-sustainability It's what you see, the greenery, the nature, what God has created for us to eat. Not only to eat, but our medicines. I know a lot of times in this Israelite walk, the Hebrew faith, hey, don't throw that up. We get so caught up in the doctrine of things, which is very important. You know what I'm saying? Um, the doctrine of things is very important. But if you don't know how to feed yourself, you know, how are you gonna make it? If you don't know how to take care of yourself, how you gonna make it? It's 2026. A lot of think about it. Kids that was born after like 2016 or 2012, you don't even know what an organic apple is or organic watermelon. Most of us that was brought up in the cities, we don't even know what real food is. You know, I would say about 15 years ago, that's when I began to see, non-GMO organic, in the cities. Because if you was brought up in a city, let's say like Detroit, Cincinnati, Houston, you don't even know. You ain't never even seen a cow, a goat. These things are very important because these are your livestock. The government won't be able to control you. Like when you look at the state of Black America, right? People might say, "Oh, we got millionaires now. We got people who got money, right?" I mean, what is money worth when the economy collapses? You know, how many farms do we have? How much land do we own as Black Americans? You know, I would rather be land rich in today's day, thinking about AI and the government can't control you when you have those things, when you have ownership, actual ownership, not, you could get the land taken by property taxes, but actual ownership of the land. You have livestock that feed you and your family. You have medicine, you know, that can heal you on the land, and you got community. Community is protection. So that's why we promoting community building, self-sustainability, you know, uh, I always use this property as an example, to learn different things, how to plant, you know, how to sow seeds, to reap what you sow. The Most High use plenty of examples of seed sowing and planting, to help understand his ways, to give parables and different things. Um, it's very important. How you gonna understand first fruits and all those things if you don't understand his nature itself? But yeah, man, this is the most important thing going forward. Actually, I had a couple of friends who was talking, right? A brother asked, he was actually trying to promote buying gold in these times, right? And he asked, he said, what's the most important thing or resource that we gonna need? He said, he thought he was gonna say gold. He said water. So what good is gold when there's a famine of water? If you don't control your own water, your own food, what good is gold? So these are the most important things that we need. We need to get some boreholes built, which, we're going to be going out to the land very soon. We definitely got some things in the making, but everything is patience. We moving though. Don't worry. But yeah, miss, this is Pilgrims in the Earth community building, self-sustainability. That's where we going. That's what we moving to. All praises be to the Most High. Just thinking about the B system. We always talk about the B system, right? Sound very spooky, right? So all the B system is in totality is the dependence on Satan and the exclusion of the Most High. You know, so you're gonna be fully dependent on Satan, and you're gonna be, separate yourself from dependence on the Most High. So why do you think they're trying to get rid of everything natural? Why do you think they're trying to prevent people from owning land anymore? Why you think they doing all that? Because they don't want us depending on the source anymore. Who is the source? The creator of all things, right? I'm telling you, man, that's that's gonna be very important going forward. You know, if you depending on a job, um, how you gonna make it when the layoffs come or AI come? I was just having a conversation with a guy from Brazil about this recently. I had asked him a question. I said, how are you gonna prepare your children in a world that we've never seen? Typically, you would send your children off to school to get a good education, to be able to take care of themselves or get a good career where they can maintain themselves, and pass that career on to, their children or whatever to learn. He was like, man, that's a good question. He really it threw him off that I asked him that. But he asked me the same question. I told him, like, man, I can't prepare to be a part of a system that I don't know. But I can prepare to be a part of a system that I don't want to be a part of. If that makes sense. I think I said that wrong. But anyway, I think, you know, we have to prepare to be excluded from the world, man. How we gonna be excluded when we depended on the grocery stores? We depended on the hospitals. We depended on, the education and religious systems. You know, look at that young little boy. He was born in a house. Born in a house. Ain't had one shot. Look at this boy, Zachariah. Look at it. Ain't had one shot. No Down syndrome. No autism. Right? That's what we call self-sustainability. Having trust and faith in the Most High. It's bigger than what we think, man. Yeah. And even before I came here, I didn't know. I thought every place was like. I didn't know. Like in America, we in Michigan. I'm from Michigan, right? We have 4 seasons. You have your summer, spring, fall, winter, whatever. But here in hot places, more tropical places, you have rainy season and you have the dry season, right? So it helps you understand everything more. So when I see no mangoes or I see certain fruits are not here, I know that it's dry season and that the rainy season, we need the rain to produce more fruit. It helps you understand the Bible a lot more clearer. You know what I'm saying? Uh, everybody talk about the new year and things like that. When everything is supposed to sprout and produce to feed, to feed everybody. So that's very important, man. Understand, how things grow and what season things come in and all that. That's very important. The rainy season and the dry season. Of course, y'all know, we decided to move to Africa or whatever, you know, uh, so that's why community is very important to us. Not only did, we don't have family, not on my wife's side or on my side, that's really close knit, and we love our family, don't get me wrong, but we wanted to come here to create a community of love. As you see, these are my 2 sons, and that's their friend right there. So we've developed friendships, family over here. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. Yeah, we developed friendships and family over here. I think living in America has given us like a false sense of what a relationship is or a friend is. When somebody call you a friend here, they really mean that. Like, I can depend on him to look after my son, right? And that's not his brother. Look, even him, right? The community comes together and take care of each other. I notice here, even when the children are like crossing the street, you'll have a total stranger that will step up and grab that child hand and lead them across the street. It's just what community does. You know, respect for the elderly and protection for the children. You know, even though Africa, is predominantly controlled by religion, religion is structured. You know, religion is structured. You can say what you want about, the history of it or the, how it originated. It still has structure to it. It has law to it. It has moral and civil law to it. So yeah, man, Very important going forward. That's why we say community. Community is the first thing. You can't have land, you know, you can't have all this without community. We need love. We need love to constitute the community first. Um, I've been listening to a brother named Brother Bronze lately. Getting into the fruits of the spirit. We always been taught keep the commandments, keep the commandments. That's the love. That's the love. That we actually forgot what love is, right? You got to understand. Do you have compassion for your brothers? You know what I'm saying? Are you long suffering? Do you have patience? Do you have mercy? If you don't have these things, loving your brother or keeping the commandments, okay, long as I ain't, killing my brother, I'm keeping the commandments. But do you have hate in your heart for your brother? You know what I'm saying? Do you have an ought with your brother without a cause? Those things can lead to murder, right? So yeah, man, community is love. Even the, safety, you gotta have safety. Quran, I need you to go to the store. So in America, I couldn't trust my 9-year-old to go to the store for me by herself, with children coming up missing and all that, right? So I can send him to the store, you know, some ways away and in hopes or trust that he's gonna come back in one piece and the community is gonna protect him if anything goes wrong. Right? Yeah. I need you to get one bag of sugar. No, 2 bags of sugar. 2 bags of sugar and mango juices, 6 mango juices, and 2 sugars. Can you don't remember that?
Mhm.
All right. And look, he about to go to the store. His friend gonna go with him. He always go with him. Come on, come here, Zamir. Zamir, come here. Hey, where that belt at? Let me go. And look, his friend gonna go to the store with him. Come here, Zamir. He all right. I got him. Look, his friend going with him. You know what I'm saying? That's real friendship right there. Say, I'm gonna walk with you to the store. That's how we used to do it. So yeah, man, we spent our whole lives, man, chasing after money, status, you know, but we forget the love, the family, you know, building a nation together. So we're trying to put community and love at the forefront. You know, of course, you need God, you need law. Those things come into factor, but all these things are important, man. How you gonna have God and law when you don't have love and community? You know, uh, you have to be able to love your neighbor or treat your neighbor as yourself, right? So imagine you having a community of people who treating their neighbor like they self and loving the Most High God with their heart, mind, and soul. You get what I'm saying? That's how the Most High bless your increase or bless your land. Blessing your land wasn't making it rain money on the congregation. Blessing your land was blessing your cattle so they don't get sick off and die with disease. Or blessing your land so that it rain so that everything can grow. You know, that's what that is, man. Hey, looking like, why you recording me? Thanks, Jeremiah. Y'all got everything? We got the 6 mango with the 2 sugars. All right. All right. Mm-hmm. It was on 10,000? Let me see what you got. Okay. Bet. As long as we continue to stay complacent and be comfortable, we will never be free. If we don't control our own water, grow our own food, build our own homes, and teach our children, by default, the world will teach our children to be slaves. AI and automation is taking all your jobs. The digital currency is coming. You're going to have to make a choice. Either serve the rulers of this world and give up your soul, or serve God and depend on nature like it was originally intended to be. So if we all put our hands to the plow and not only unite our resources and talents, but our love and devotion to serve God, who shall be against us?